You ever believed in something so absurd that looking back, you can't understand how you fell for it? Maybe it was a message, a deal, a promise. Maybe it sounded harmless. Maybe it sounded brilliant. But some people didn't just believe. They bet their lives on it. Today, you're about to hear 6 real scams. Not clever, not smart, just dumb. Dumb enough to make you laugh. Dumb enough to make you worry. Because somehow, they worked. People bought land on the moon. They paid for invisible art. They trusted a man with a fake ID to represent an entire nation. These aren't just mistakes, they're reminders that the dumbest lies are sometimes the easiest to believe. So don't blink, don't skip, stay till the end. Because the last story, it fooled the entire internet. If this made you raise an eyebrow, just wait. What's coming next is even crazier. These are real scams, real people, and stories so twisted, they make fiction look boring. So hit that subscribe button, like the video if your jaw dropped, and tell us in the comments, which scam was so dumb it actually made sense? Case 1. The man who sold the Eiffel Tower. Twice. You receive a letter marked confidential, inviting you to a luxury hotel in Paris to discuss a government opportunity. The Eiffel Tower is being dismantled. The city can't afford its upkeep anymore, and you've been selected as a potential buyer. Sounds absurd, right? Now picture this actually happened. Not once, but twice. In 1925, a man named Victor Lustig arrived in Paris with nothing but charm and a plan. He posed as a high-ranking official from the Ministry of Posts and Telegraphs, complete with forged documents, official stationery, and the kind of confidence that makes people stop asking questions. He arranged private meetings at the Hôtel de Crillon, one of the city's most prestigious hotels. His targets? Scrap metal dealers. The cover story? That the Eiffel Tower was too expensive to maintain after the war, and the government had decided to quietly sell it off for parts. The deal had to be confidential, sensitive, political, urgent. One businessman took the bait. He didn't want to miss a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He paid the full amount, signed the documents, and waited. The Eiffel Tower, of course, never came down. And Victor Lustig, he vanished. The buyer never reported the crime, too embarrassed to go public, and that gave Lustig an idea. He came back months later, same plan, same hotel, new victim, and once again, it worked. 2 full-scale scams. 1 man, 0 arrests. Victor Lustig would go on to become one of the most legendary con artists in history, not because he had advanced technology or hacked any system, but because he understood one simple truth. People don't buy facts. They buy stories. Lustig didn't sell metal. He sold desire. The desire to be chosen, to be in on the secret, to get rich before anyone else could. And when people want something badly enough, they stop asking the right questions. You see a seal, and don't ask who stamped it. You see a badge, and don't ask who issued it. You see a once-in-a-lifetime chance, and you lean in. That's how you sell the Eiffel Tower. Twice. Case 2. The Nigerian Astronaut email scam. Most scam emails are lazy, full of bad grammar, fake promises, and 0 creativity. But this one, it was something else entirely. In the early 2000s, people started receiving a very specific email. It claimed to be from the Nigerian government. The sender said he was the cousin of a Nigerian astronaut, Major Abacha Tunde. According to the message, Tunde had been stranded in space. Yes, space. For over 14 years, he'd been part of a secret Soviet-Nigerian mission to a military space station. But after the Soviet Union collapsed, Nigeria couldn't afford to bring him back. Now they had a plan. If you, the recipient, could help fund the re-entry mission with just a few $1,000,000, you'd be rewarded generously, $15 million to be exact. Once Tunde returned to Earth, he'd split the money. The email used official-sounding language. It mentioned NASA, provided banking instructions, even included classified clearance numbers. It was absurd, ridiculous, and yet it worked. No one knows how many people fell for it, but security analysts believe some did. Why? Because this scam had what most others don't. A story, not just any story, a dramatic one. A man trapped in space, a cousin trying to save him, a fortune waiting for whoever helped. It hit 3 emotional targets: curiosity, sympathy, and greed. If you laughed when you heard it, good. That means your brain fired off warning signs. But some people didn't, because the story sounded just believable enough. And that's the trick. It's not about making the scam real. It's about making it feel almost real. The best lies, they walk the edge of disbelief, just dumb enough to seem legit. After all, who would make up something this ridiculous? Unless it were true. The Nigerian astronaut scam wasn't just funny. It was genius, because it filtered out the skeptics and zeroed in on the ones ready to believe. Those are the people con artists dream of. And it proves something we'll see again and again. If you make someone feel special, like they've been trusted with a secret, they'll do almost anything, even fund a rescue mission to space. Case 3. The man who sold the moon. Some people sell houses, some sell land. But one man looked up at the night sky and decided to sell the moon. His name was Dennis Hope. And according to him, he owns it. All of it. Back in 1980, broken, going through a divorce, Hope was sitting in his car when he had an idea. If nobody owns the moon, why can't I? So he filed a claim. He wrote a letter to the United Nations, officially declaring ownership of the moon and every other planet and moon in the solar system. They never replied, so he took that silence as approval. Then he launched the Lunar Embassy Corporation, a company that sells plots of moonland to anyone with a credit card. Each customer gets a deed, coordinates, a lunar constitution, and of course, a flag. Sounds like a joke, right? It's not. Dennis Hope claims to have sold over $600 million worth of moonland. He sold to celebrities, tech CEOs, presidents, even entire corporations. And people keep buying. Why? Maybe it's the novelty. Maybe it's the illusion of owning something eternal. Or maybe it's just one of those fantasies we want to believe. Because Hope doesn't just sell land, he sells imagination, a sense of ownership over the unreachable, a ticket to the future. Imagine, he says, how valuable that land will be once people start living up there. But here's the twist. International law, specifically the 1967 Outer Space Treaty, clearly says no nation can claim ownership of celestial bodies. But Hope argues, he's not a nation, he's just a guy. A guy with a printer and a brilliant understanding of human psychology. Because if something sounds just crazy enough to be true, people will talk about it. If they talk about it long enough, some will believe. And if enough believe, they'll buy. And suddenly, a random letter no one answered turns into a $600 million business. So next time you look at the moon, ask yourself, who owns it? The truth is, someone already sold it. And thousands of people are still paying for it. Case 4. The invisible art sold for $250,000. Imagine walking into an art gallery. White walls, spotlights, pedestals. But on one pedestal, there's nothing. No painting, no sculpture, just air. And now imagine being told, this is a masterpiece. In 2011, an Italian artist named Salvatore Garau made headlines worldwide. He sold a piece of invisible art titled Io Sono, I Am, for $18,000. Not a painting, not a sculpture, just a certificate. A piece of paper confirming that you had purchased the idea. The buyer didn't get anything physical. The artwork existed, according to Garau, in a vacuum of thought. It existed only when you believed in it. And here's the twist. This wasn't a prank. It was treated seriously as art. Critics defended it. Galleries promoted it. Collectors lined up. Because let's face it, modern art loves to push boundaries. If Duchamp could call a urinal a sculpture, if Warhol could turn soup cans into icons, why not call a vacuum of air art? But under all the philosophy, something else was going on. A very human game. The fear of looking stupid. In elite art circles, no one wants to admit they don't get it. So instead of laughing, they admire. Instead of questioning, they praise. And that's where the real trick lies. Garau didn't sell a sculpture. He sold status. He sold membership to an exclusive club. a club where the price of entry was belief. The buyer didn't just purchase invisible art. They purchased the right to say, "I understand it." And maybe that's what makes it genius, because it turns nothing into something more valuable than bronze or marble. Social capital. Something you can't touch, something you can't measure, but something very, very real. $250,000 real. So next time someone tells you about an investment, just remember, sometimes the most valuable thing you can sell is nothing at all. Case 5. The fake diplomat with a plastic badge. He had no passport, no official documents, just a suit, a smile, and a plastic badge. But that didn't stop him from traveling the world as a diplomat. His name? Ferdinand Waldo de Mara, or James, or Martin, or whatever he needed it to be that day. He was a professional imposter, but not the messy kind. De Mara didn't sneak around. He walked right through the front door, with confidence, with presence, and just enough paperwork to make people assume the rest. He impersonated naval officers, university professors, psychologists, and yes, even diplomats. One of his most absurd stunts? Attending high-level meetings with foreign ministers. Carrying nothing more than a badge, he printed himself. No credentials, no clearance, just charisma and guts. When questioned, he answered with calm authority. Quoted obscure laws, dropped real names of real officials. And that was enough. People believed him because he looked like someone important. He acted like someone who belonged. And that's the scary part. De Mara's success wasn't about hacking the system. It was about exploiting assumptions. Most people don't double-check what they think they already know. He created the illusion, and everyone else filled in the blanks. For years, he lived off that illusion. Shifting roles, changing identities, crossing borders, reinventing the story every time it cracked. And when it all fell apart, he simply disappeared and started a new one. Some say he was a con artist. Others call him a genius. But one thing's certain. He proved that sometimes the easiest way to fool the world is to look like the kind of person no one questions. The suit, the tone, the badge, that's all it takes. And in the right room, at the right time, that plastic badge might be worth more than a real one. Case 6. The fake restaurant that became #1 on TripAdvisor, London 2017. A city packed with 5-star restaurants, celebrity chefs, Michelin stars, and at the very top of TripAdvisor's rankings, a place called The Shed at Dulwich. It was exclusive. It was mysterious. You needed a special invitation just to get on the waiting list. People were desperate to eat there. Journalists begged for a table. Celebrities slid into DMs. But there was one small issue. The Shed at Dulwich didn't exist. Not even a little. It was all the invention of one man, Uber Butler, a freelance writer who once got paid to write fake restaurant reviews. One day, he had a thought. If I can fake reviews, why not fake the whole restaurant? So he built a website, posted fake photos, like shaving cream styled to look like gourmet dishes. He used burner phones to answer calls, and listed the address as by appointment only. Then he got his friends to flood TripAdvisor with glowing detailed reviews. And it worked. Slowly, the Shed started climbing. 500th place, 300th, top 100. And then, #1, the highest rated restaurant in all of London. Without serving a single meal, without a single customer. Just a fake name, fake photos, and the illusion of exclusivity. Eventually, the hype got too real. So Uber caved and hosted an actual night at the Shed. He set up folding tables in his backyard, bought cheap microwave meals, threw some props around, and let people in. They loved it. They took selfies, left 5-star reviews, posted on social media, and they walked away. Convinced? They'd just dined at the best restaurant in London. No one complained. No one questioned it. Because reputation had already done the hard part. Eventually, the truth came out. The Shed at Dulwich was exposed, and Uber became a viral legend. But what he proved is unforgettable. Perception is reality. If enough people believe something is valuable, it becomes valuable, even if it's nothing more than a garden shed with a great story. If any of these stories made you question reality, good. That means you're exactly where you should be. We've got plenty more bizarre tales coming your way. So hit subscribe, drop a comment, and share this with someone who definitely would have eaten at the shed. The world is not what it seems. It never was. Scams this absurd. Frauds this reckless. They don't happen because people are foolish. They happen because people want to believe in the impossible, in the secret, in the shortcut. Every story you heard today was built on one thing: trust. And every con artist knew a single truth. Reality is fragile. It only takes the right lie, told at the right moment, to turn the absurd into the believable. And when that happens, even the most ridiculous story becomes history. So stay curious, stay sharp, and remember, here at Bizarre Twisted Tales, we don't just tell stories. We reveal how far reality can bend when no one is looking.